Growing up, I was always taught to be afraid of the dark. Um, Growing up in a very religious household as well, I was taught that, evil lurks in the dark, right? Bad spirits, Um, but for me, all right, in my darkest time, right? Where I was really going through shit, right, by myself. Yes, I had people around me, right, but like I was alone, right? I didn't have anyone that I could really trust, that I could really talk to, right? And I feel like that was meant to be, right? I feel like I was meant to go through these things alone, right? But it is in my darkest hour, right, that I found my light, right? Um, I was able to love myself, to really give myself the love that I've always wanted, right? But I never quite was able to find. And it was because I wasn't loving myself that way, right? So it was in that darkness that I really learned about myself, did the healing, did the hard work, right? Because I was meant to do that. I was meant to be alone, right? So that way I would be able to call in what it was that I really wanted, right? And in that, you go through an ego death, right? And it still feels like, you're still in the dark, right? But you've got your light, right? That you're shining bright. And it's like that light helps guide you completely out of the darkness. It helps you shed, right, old mindsets, old timelines, the timelines, and also old versions of yourself, right? That ego death, right? Which is, we need the ego, but it's that negative, that shadow self, right, that kind of like holds you back. You learn how to balance it out, right, and how to love it. And you're comfortable with being in the dark now, right, and holding hands with your shadow and being like, I got you, babe, like, let's go, let's do this, but when you're coming out of that, you're able, right, to really call in what you want, because there is a certainty now, right? You know for certain, for sure, what it is that you want, what it is that you don't want, what you're calling in, right? And your light is always with you, right? But your light, it changes, right? It starts off a little bit small, right? And then it's growing and evolving, right? And now you're this whole like magical being, who's able to just completely call forth, right, the life that you want, your soul tribe, right? The love of your life, the money, the business, whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that your little heart desires, you're able to call it in and to make it happen, because you know that you're worth it. You know your worth, okay? And so I was called to share, I guess, my story, because I feel like somebody needs to hear it. So if this is you, you're not alone. You're going through it. Keep going. You're going to come out on the other side and you're going to be just fine. I love you.